When you don't know really who you are, how are you going to find someone that's going to be a good fit for you? Like, I'm a strong, independent woman. I need someone who can work well with that personality type. Someone who's not going to
Yes.
put me down and make me feel bad for that personality type. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, I'm old. Like, am I ever going to be able to do the things that I wanted to do? Have I wasted too much of my life? Is there anything better out there for me? But even with that fear that I had, I knew that whatever I could create differently was going to be better than whatever I had experienced. Even if there was only the small chance of it happening, at least I was giving myself the chance. Staying where I was meant repeating the same things I had always done. And I already knew how that worked out, and it was killing me. It was making me sick. It was making me less of myself. I mean, in so many different ways. And I just knew I wasn't living my full life by living that way. My first husband was physically abusive. He actually strangled me on our wedding night. And because I believed that once you get married, you stay married, I stayed and tried to figure out what was I doing wrong so that I could fix and change and become the person that he wanted me to be so that I could keep the marriage going. But that's not what marriage is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be about changing who you are to fit the mold of somebody else. It's really about stepping in. And this is what it's so beautiful about finding that relationship when you're older, is because if you've done the work and you've gotten to know who you really truly are, then you're more aware of you. You're already created a life where you're happy and excited about your own life, so that when you're looking for someone, it's not from a place of neediness. It's from a place of, hey, I already live an amazing life. This person better be adding or they're out, because I don't have
That's
time for this crap.
that's definitely how I work these days, but it did come from a lot of self-reflection. And I'm so sorry to hear that that was in your story, strangulation on a wedding night.
I got married in a castle. Amazing. It was a beautiful, beautiful spot. And my mom is French, so we had all of our family from Europe over. Like, it was a big to-do. And I didn't want anyone to know that that's what happened. So I didn't tell anybody because it
Sounds like a traumatic experience for sure. And like you said, moving on with the mindset of, I gotta keep this going. That's why I'm so passionate about bringing awareness on this topic, even to younger ladies, right? I want their mothers to come and listen to this with their daughters to prevent or shine a light on this topic.
Yeah, I think that a lot of women, we want to fit into the mold that we believe we need to fit into. And society kind of gives us these hints of what women should be and how they should act and how they should behave. And then your family upbringing and all of that. My book, Being Loved Shouldn't Hurt, is really, the title came from the moment that I realized that love was supposed to be easy and calm, not stressful and causing anxiety and all of that. And it really was this weird aha moment when I was like 35 years old, that I realized, like, oh, that's what it was. Oh, I had no idea, because I didn't, because that's what my understanding was. It was stressful. So I think when you're brought up like people pleasing and taking care of everyone and learning that love is this uncomfortable thing, we automatically go to those subconscious beliefs about love and relationships, even though we might not want those. We go to that because that's what we know.
And for me, I didn't know that some of these, what seemed like terrible situations in my relationship, that I was potentially creating them myself because of my thinking, what I believed, because it kept me longer in it. I didn't have to suffer for as long, or I could have saved myself the years of pain, right? But because I didn't have the awareness and the thinking in that way, it just, like I said, I was creating it for myself in my life,
Oh,
even though
yeah.
I didn't want it like that.
I had someone say to me once when I was still married, that said, "You like drama." And I remember being so pissed off because I was like, I don't like drama. I don't like it at all. And her response was basically, well, if you don't like drama, why are you in drama? And it was just like, I don't want to be in this. There was not the part that was like, I don't have to be. There was just, I want to explain to him, and I want him to understand how he should be behaving so that he can stop behaving this way, and we can go on to create the life of our dreams. Really, I was like, he can be this great guy. He potentially has all these great things. But, you know, someone who's treating you that badly, for me, there was physical abuse on top of the verbal abuse and everything else. Someone who's, I call it like stage 4 cancer. where once you've gotten to that place where there's the physical abuse, where you're fearful for your safety, there's no going back from that anymore. But I didn't want to believe that. I wanted to believe that I could still fix it so that he would finally do it and we could be okay. That was really what I wanted. But it was really a waste of time because I was the one who wanted it. And he would tell me, one of his favorite phrases was, Stephanie, you live in lollipops and rainbows. People in relationships don't actually just talk about things. They say terrible things to each other when they're fighting. And I would say, when I started doing my work, I was like, well, but I don't want that anymore. So if someone's going to be that way, I'm not going to be around them. And of course, I'm now married to someone where we talk about things. I mean, sometimes we'll raise our voice if we're feeling really passionate about something, but he would never call me names. He would never put me down. He would never say things to hurt me on purpose. Where my ex-husband, if I told him a word I didn't like, he would use that specifically in the next fight to try to get back at me. And I've always been a bubbly, outgoing person. It's always been my personality. And that was one of the things he said he was attracted to me for. And then he would tell me like, oh, you don't understand what I went through as a teenager. I did bad things. And his upbringing was so terrible from what he said. But he made that as if those were excuses for why he could behave that way and why he would lash out and treat me so badly. And because I was a people pleaser, but I was also super understanding. I was a certified crisis counselor. So people that are listening, I really want them to come away with this, with realizing it's not because you're not intelligent. It's not because you're not a strong person. It's because, for one, these people break us down where we just live in survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, it's hard to get out of it. We feel like it's impossible sometimes, but it's also because we haven't healed those parts of us that felt like that was okay. So where we don't really have to put up with it, we can walk away, we can communicate, we can do the things we need to do. Taking care of ourselves is a priority. It's not a selfish thing, it's a priority. And so if you can make you a priority and make this healing, this time after this relationship, your priority of really figuring out who you are, it's going to be more natural for you to be attracting people that are healthier. They're not going to do these kinds of things. So we shouldn't have been there. We were, and that's our story, but it doesn't have to be the rest of your story. It doesn't have to be the rest of your life.
Right. And I know you've mentioned once you have a realization that, like for me, it was, I get to be the creator of my life, right?
Yeah.
I get to create what comes in and out. I get to create what is said in my space. But that came after self-reflecting and unpacking 18 years of my life and then having to go further into my childhood. And I am now getting to build with a different mindset. I am now getting to own it and know who I am and whose I am, and what I was made for.